the XPA.
Oh, nice. Good choice.
It's on special at BWS. It's not bad. Okay, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the WA Running Podcast, recording episode 118 on the 25th of May, 2026. In this week's episode, we cover what Vici has been calling the biggest event on the WA running calendar, the 2026 HBF Run for a Reason. We also had some loose units battling it out at Sydreh at Herdys over the weekend, and we recap the episode with Weapons of Warp. Across my screen is not Vici. She's having a bit of a rest after a big 24 hours at HBF. But across one of the sides of my screen is not Chris Shaw, but someone that ran 80 minutes with a bit of change. I actually forgot the name, but it was a Chinese one. But I'm not looking at a Chinese man. Chris the Michelin Shaw, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. You can call me Jia Hui Li if you like from now on. So
done.
Yeah, I ran a 25-minute PB for Jia on the weekends.
Oh, very good. As his race mule.
Yeah, bib mule this year, and Gia is going to qualify for a seated entry, or more or less next year. So
very good, very good. How'd you pull up, mate?
Yeah, good. I think similar to you, we were talking about off screen. Yeah, little tight in the calves, but otherwise pretty good. Had it hobbled through. I didn't hobble. I kind of felt pretty good actually this morning. It's actually gotten worse throughout the day, but had a run this morning, and feeling great.
Very good. Well, last week you promised a sub 45-minute 12K. Obviously, that didn't happen. Perhaps talk us through your training week, because I'm seeing 100Ks there on the mileage. So what was the plan at the start of the week, and what made you become Chinese?
So the plan was to have a pretty short taper into this. So the plan was to kind of run not maybe a full training week, but just taper off that Thursday session. So my Tuesday session was 3 by 12 minutes. I did the on /TRC /easy double run on Wednesday morning with them, which was nice. I didn't get out to the second run, unfortunately, but did get out for the early AM run, where that was good. The shoes were great, actually.
What were they?
The On Cloud Ultra Pros, I think they were, or On Cloud Ultra 3s. I can't remember which one it was, but they were a great shoe. Very, very soft. Compared to a lot of trail shoes, they were a bit softer, so they felt good running on the road as well as on the trail. So I might have to have a chat to Raf and Sam about a shoe for Transcend at some point. But
very good.
That could be the one. And then a Thursday I did 3 by 3 minutes, followed by 5 by 1 minute, just off a minute rest for everything. And that session was like the taper session, but really that was to actually try on a pair of shoes that I'd bought maybe a few weeks prior that I hadn't had a chance to actually run in yet. And I ended up choosing the Deviate Nitro Elite 3s that you've been wearing for the last few months. And they were great shoe, and felt very poppy. I don't think I was those 3 minute reps. I was supposed to do it at roughly 8 race pace, and I was doing like 320s, and I was like, well, I'm just going to go with it. And then that was kind of it. So I think I ran 75 minutes on Friday, and then had a shorter session a short run on Saturday, and tried on another pair of shoes that I had, but did just a couple of like 1 minute strides or reps, I suppose, just to see how those would feel. But they were incredibly unstable laterally. So
what were they?
They were the Saucony Endorphin Elite 2s.
Okay.
And those, while extremely bouncy and kind of a high level of energy return, like the lateral stability on that shoe is pretty concerning. So I'm not sure I could wear that. I mean, probably could have worn it for HBF, but I hadn't worn it for a session yet, a long session. And I think sometimes it takes time to learn how to run in a particular shoe. And the Puma was very kind of natural to me to run in, whereas this shoe did not feel natural at all. So it might be left for a session down the track that I can use for another race in the future.
Yeah, cool.
Mm.
So it was Wednesday that you decided to upgrade the ticket?
No, actually, I was talking to Gia. So Gia is a one of the dads at school, and I was talking to him on Thursday morning about what he's running, because I know he'd run a couple of marathons in the past and what his plans were for HBF. And he said he wasn't running it this year, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do the 12K and blah blah blah. And anyway, I ended up chatting to in our running group, our WhatsApp group. We were talking about who was giving away tickets and who was not running, and yeah, Bond mentioned that maybe he had a friend that wasn't running the half, and I was like, well, I'll take the ticket, just knowing that the weather was going to be perfect, and kind of having a nice longer run that started at 6:35 and not 8:15 was way more appealing to me. So I was like, yeah, I'll take the ticket. And anyway, I got a message from this gentleman that was Bond's mate, and it turned out to be Gia. So it was really weird that like I'd just been talking to him like 3 hours prior, and suddenly I was copping a free ticket offered him for HBF. So my 12K ticket went to someone else at Let's Cook Running Team. So if you're looking for Chris Shaw on the results,
he also ddid 120 just in the 12K.
Yeah, that's really strange, right? Yeah. Raniel ended up running an hour 20 for the 12. So it was almost fate anyway. No, it was good. I'm glad I chose the 21 in the end, because had turned out that I'm talking to Scott Price a few weeks ago, or maybe a couple of months ago, about running possibly the half at HBF, and he was gunning for around that kind of 121 time, which is what I would be happy with. And I got in touch with him again, and he said, hey, Macca and Chris Sadler and Cooper, we're all going to run around that time, because Sadler's doing a marathon-specific session, I suppose, running like a marathon-paced long run. And I was like, oh, well, I'll jump in and do that. It's nothing better than having a group to run with. So thought it was perfect. So, decided the half was the one for me on the weekend.
Beautiful. All right, well, we'll get into the recap a bit later. My week started off, I think, post-June up, got over it pretty quickly. It was meant to be a light week again, because the original plan was to pace Ella in the half. So she would have been looking to do, I think she did 128 at Busso. So anything better than that would have been a win for her. I think she's had a pretty full-on schedule, so I think she would have just been happy with a 127 or thereabouts. And then she had a bit of a niggle on the Sunday, like the morning of June lot, doing sort of a bit of a long run for her. So it was a bit touch and go throughout the week, but my plan was really no real sessions. I think I had a 5 by 2 minute on Thursday, but it was just three days of running in the end. So it was Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And then it was going to be a last minute call for Ella. So Saturday we usually meet up down the coast, and it was a bit of a 30-minute shakeout, and she kind of pulled the pin because it just wasn't playing ball for her. So so I had to make a decision on what I was going to do with the seeded bib that I did not beg Vici for. And kind of just decided to go, oh, look, my legs feel pretty good. I'm well rested. Not really done much running. I had only done 20Ks of running this week. Not 100%, but good enough to take another swing at it. So so Saturday morning was the call I made to have a go. And I think I messaged you boys saying that I was raring to go. And then as I put it out in the universe, my calves started to feel a bit sore. So I think that was just a bit of half marathon paranoia, really. But so that was the decision. And looked at the forecast. It was bloody perfect. I think it was a minimum of 3 degrees or something. And I think it was 7 degrees by the time we kicked things off. So perfect morning, and obviously a perfect day, which we'll cover a bit later. But 47Ks for me for the week, including HBF. Probably another easy week this week, and then we'll really decide what the game plan is after this. So pretty happy with how the half went yesterday. So my motivation to do another half isn't quite there. Like I'm pretty satisfied with that time. So it might be a 10K at this stage, but I haven't really committed anything just yet.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Very good, mate. No, I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing your recap because, it's pretty tough to do that 2 weeks in a row.
Yes. Yep. Don't know how I did that either. All right. Well, let's just get straight into results then. We'll kick things off with Sydreh, which is Herdys backwards. That started Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. Did you want to cover the results?
Yeah, so I think you got in touch with Sean earlier just to get some of these results because maybe they hadn't been widely broadcast. But Shane Aris won that event with 34 yards. George Tucker was turned around as the assist there, so coming in second. And then in terms of women's, we had Phoebe Hurliman running 30 yards, Jen Millam with 25 yards or starting the 25th yard rather, and Chelsea Topless running 24 yards. So, yeah, pretty good and pretty close cluster from both the men's and the women's there. Not as many numbers as we might have seen at Herdys, back in March. Obviously, this being the kind of initial was this the inaugural Sydreh, right? So, probably not as many people buying in and obviously HBF being the same weekend, it's pretty tough sell. But, we also had Matthew Hibble, Aaron O'Loughlin and Matthew Park run 30 yards. So, a considerable amount of people kind of hitting around that 30-yard number, which is good to see. Because that's over a day of running is no mean feat, as Vici will attest.
Yeah, it would have been freaking cold these last couple of nights as well. So
definitely
good on those guys for running there. Obviously, you've experienced the Herdys atmosphere. Would you ever contemplate doing a backyard ultra?
Nah, I don't. It's not really my I'm interested in the psychological side of that, but it's not something that interests me, unfortunately. I like to have a goal and have that goal be completed in a given amount of time frame rather than like an unknown end. I can't deal with the unknown, I think. So, I'm not sure it's for me. And neither is sitting around in my own filth for 10 minutes every hour. So,
and being watched by your crew as they just stare at you, not knowing what to do.
No one knows what to say to make you feel better. No one knows whether to touch you or not. No one really wants to touch you. It's like,
but then they feel guilty. Like they're like, it's this hesitation. Yeah, no, I experienced it with you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, so I take it you won't be back next year.
I won't be, but happy to crew. I think it is a pretty special event. I just don't want to be the one experiencing firsthand. But no, I think that Friday afternoon is something special. Obviously, I'm happy to crew overnight, I think, because I think that's probably where things get pretty hard for people. And it's where, the gazebos are quiet. It's just you alone with your thoughts. And, those that sort of last the distance are the ones that have crew in the middle of the night. I think those that do it solo do struggle, unless you've done it plenty of times and you know what you're doing and you can be alone with your thoughts, but I cannot be left alone with my thoughts. They spiral.
Yeah, or unless you're that German guy that ate sardines for, nearly 40 hours. Or nearly 50 hours. Yeah.
Been in dark places many times. Yeah.
I'd say so.
All right, let's get straight into the main event. We had HBF Run for a reason yesterday. So some quick stats here. We had 40,000 runners, walkers competing across all the distances, which is a mammoth amount of people in the vicinity of the city. We had $1.7 million raised so far to various charities, and it's looking like the individual fundraisers are changing by the hour, but we had Duke Storer fundraising for cystic fibrosis WA, currently at $17,520. We've got Tina Ingraham fundraising for motor neuron disease WA, currently second in 17,227. And then we've got Xavier doing it for POP, fundraising for Dementia Australia, in 10,669. So congrats, guys. And obviously you can continue to donate and fundraise all the way through to the 30th of June. Let's get straight into some of the results. So I can kick things off with the 3K. So we've got Jonah Hanakiri running the 3K, and I think it was a 3K with a bit of change. I don't know how certified this 3K is. It's probably a 3.3 K that we had. So we had Jonah Hanakiri in 9 minutes 45. We had Josh Nearvort coming second in 9:51, and we've got Theodore Kenworthy Groen in 10 minutes and 13 seconds. In the women's race, we had Manny Luscombe in 11:09, Macy here in 11:28, and Ava DeBritz in 11:35. So that looks to be a very tight race across the men's and women's.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
We've had the 12K, which I think started at 8 a.m. Take us away, Chris.
Yeah, I had Reese Harris running 37.53, taking out the men's race. Dante Armstrong in 38.03, and Lachlan Alansari in 38.11. Debbie Donald, I think is a Busso local, former Kiwi, or maybe still current Kiwi. 43.34, taking out the women's race. Jackie Artis in 44.36, and Amy Buckingham in 44.40. So, yeah, a few familiar names there from the track, kind of going across the 3K and the 12K. Interestingly, in the 12K, we had 8 men run under 40 minutes. I think there was only 8 people that ran under 40 minutes last year, and last year was particularly poor conditions, but I think by the time the 12K started last year, maybe the roughness that the half marathon had experienced wasn't quite there. But yeah, interesting that the depth of the running fields, maybe there's just more people running, but yeah, overall, and you'll probably elaborate this on the half too, there's quite a bit of depth in the half there, both in the men's and the women's. So that's awesome to see.
Yeah, we had Demi Donald backing it up after June. I think she won the 10K last week as well. So
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
getting the job done in consecutive weekends. We had the half marathon. So start with the men's race. We had Luke Burrows running in a Sea Wave bib, taking out the win in 65 minutes 54 seconds. Smithy coming second in 66 minutes and 46 seconds, and we had Andrew Hellbush just 6 seconds behind in 66.52. I think I caught sort of the start of the race as we were heading down UWA, and they had already made the turn, and it looked like Burrows was way ahead of everyone quite early. So looked like he had quite a decent lead and must have just eased off a little bit towards the end there, because it looked like a close finish between the top 3. But that's back-to-back wins for Burrows, and looking pretty strong out there. I think I was hearing from Sav that he might have had a bit of a cold or was a little bit sick during the week, but looked like he came back and got himself the win, which was great to see.
Yeah, for sure. I did see the footage of the start of that race, and on that footage, it's kind of taken from afar. You basically see Burrows smashing it down the hill from the start. So I think he probably caught everyone off guard by actually going as hard as he did at the start there. And then, I mean, when I saw them at the turn at UWA, he was at least, I don't know, like 50 to 60 meters ahead, maybe more, at 5Ks or 6Ks, wherever that was. So, yeah, I mean, it's a decent gap to put on everyone so early in the race.
And then good to see Andrew Hellbush coming third there. I think he did the 12K last year. And I did see him at TRC earlier this week, or earlier last week. And he did predict his time of being roughly at 66, 67 minutes and got it bang on. And just looking at his Strava splits, it looked like, it was consistent splits throughout. So a great race by Andrew there, and not too far behind Smithy in the end. We'll go to the women's race, Chris.
Yeah, so we had Nera Jarrab run 1:19.27 to take out the win, which was good to see Nera racing. And then we had Rebecca Twaddlechleb Kleb, Twatter Kleb, in 1:21:06. So apologies, Rebecca, if I've mispronounced your name. But I did see Rebecca in that group with Jules Bennett, who came third there in 1:21:29, and those two, along with Loz French, were kind of in this kind of 80 to 81 minute pack that we caught up to. But it was interesting to see how that dynamic played out. And obviously Rebecca turned on the jets in the last few Ks to get a gap on Jules. Neera seems like daylight between her and everyone else. I think you might have been running with Neera at one point in time, maybe earlier on in the race. But, good to see her racing. I heard rumours that maybe she was injured, but it seems like she's not, clearly, and maybe she's got some big marathon plans later in the year.
Yeah, I've got a feeling maybe it was a session. She took off pretty quickly very early, but then sort of backed off a little, and just made me think that maybe she was doing a sesh. She was doing some surges.
Interesting. Yeah. Confusing everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously doing enough for the win. So congrats, Neera, there. It was funny because I was running with Chart for perhaps the first half of the race, and Neera was sort of within our vicinity. And as we were turning back from UWA, you could just hear everyone cheer. And my ego, I just thought, it's everyone just noticing me from the podcast, but it was just it was for Neera. So congrats, Neera, on a well run.
I think Aris Rogers, right, was the fifth woman. And she was kind of in and around that kind of 122 mark, I think. Aris ran. So it's good. She's obviously not injured at the moment. She's running strong, and having a chat to her after the race, it's just she's glad to be back running races again. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, very good. We had, talking about depth in the half, we had 9 people run under 70 minutes, which is crazy. We had 44 people run under 78 minutes. And to put that into perspective, we only had 3 people run under 70 minutes last year, and we had 31 people run under 78 minutes. So obviously that's just an indication of how perfect the conditions are. Obviously all the big dogs were out racing at HBF, and it was amazing to see. And obviously, with our respective races, it was absolutely perfect. You couldn't put a foot wrong in terms of the weather. It was nice and cold with barely any wind. I think the only wind you really felt was coming out of the tunnel. But other than that, perfect conditions all around. All right, well, let's get straight into our respective recaps. So we'll start with you, Chris. So obviously, last minute call to a certain extent to race a half. What were your expectations heading into it? Obviously, talking to Scott, knowing that there was a 81-minute bus there. How did it play out for you?
Yeah, so I mean, a few months ago, I actually had a half ticket, and so this was going to be my goal half race. But at the time, maybe a few weeks after I had the ticket, I realised, I don't think I'm going to be fit enough. Like by the time I get there, so I was exchanged that ticket for a 12. It's funny how that works. And then we obviously doing that lactate test with Xander and Rafa a few months back. That was giving me the numbers, I guess, that I needed to train for. And over the course of the last kind of couple of months, it's amazing, like how. Like sometimes by having that data set there to be able to focus your training slightly more, I was actually slowing down my sessions a bit. And through having slowed down my sessions, I don't know how it works physiologically, but my fitness has improved dramatically in the last couple of months.
Awesome.
And I think that's like based on how yesterday went, I think that showed. So like my goal was knowing that I had these guys to run with, and I have to give a massive shout out to Mako because he did a phenomenal job of pacing that kind of 81-minute bus. We were running on the money, more or less 352s for the first kind of 10K. And that 352 mark, I think, was whatever Chris was trying to run, Chris Sadler. And then that kind of fit in with where my existing PB was. So I was like, hey, if I run a minute quicker than my current PB, without really having trained specifically for this race, I'll be very happy with that. And so, yeah, we went out, we were running, and much like your sentiment with Nira, like cheering, I don't think there's anyone in Perth that gets more cheers than Macca does on a race. He gets so many people yelling his name or yelling coach or whatever. And there being two Chris's in the group, neither Chris or myself knew who was cheering for us. It was Macca that stood out there, which was cool. But no, he was great. He was kind of keeping us on top of it, telling us when we needed to put the foot down, when we needed to ease off when we were going up some of the hills. So that was nice. But yeah, so the goal was run 352s for as more or less as long as possible. And then I guess at that through that first kind of half of the race, for me, it felt like marathon effort. Like it was not.
Nice.
It was not. I didn't feel out of breath. And looking at my heart rate was in the low 160s. So that indicates to me roughly where. I mean, I'm not running a marathon at 352 pace. I'm not silly, but I think it felt like I could have run 30 Ks at that pace. So. I was like, well, in my head immediately after 10 Ks, I was like, okay, I'm going to be able to push this on a bit as we get later in the race. And I think because the group that we had splintered a little bit, and it was just me and Chris and Macca for kind of stretches of it. And we would every now and then we would pick someone up out of that had fallen off the back of another group or that had maybe gone out a bit too quick. And they'd stick with us for a bit, and then we'd drop them again. And then we had that kind of 81-minute bus in our sights, and we were kind of approaching them as we went into the tunnel. And that group had Loz and Rebecca and Jules in it. Adam Scott was in there, and a couple of other folks. And so Macca and Chris and I were saying, hey, let's just try and catch these guys after we get out of the tunnel. So as we went through the tunnel, we kind of picked it up a bit because it got a little warmer in there, right, naturally. Yeah. But it actually was a welcome warmth. Like when you're doing Perth Running Festival and it's 25 degrees outside, you go in the tunnel and it's 35 degrees. It's not great. But on a morning where it's 7 degrees and it might be 12 degrees in the tunnel, it feels like pretty nice. So the goal was just to catch them, and then we did catch them as we kind of get off that exit ramp coming up, then approaching Optus Stadium. And then from there, it was just put the foot down and run more or less as hard as we could. And I think by that point, we'd gone from running 352s to running 346s, and then we were then running 330 somethings, like for the last kind of 10K. And I mean, appreciating that this is not a 10K race, and the splits probably there's some cooked splits coming out of the tunnel probably. But I think like Strava put me down for a 36:20 in that last 10K, and I'd probably add 20 to 30 seconds on that for mustard, but still that would be considered a PB for me. Like, yeah. I don't really know. It was again feeling very easy, and I was looking at my watch. I was like, I don't know why this feels like this. Because I was expecting to be struggling at that pace. And looking back to how I felt at Rockingham a few weeks ago, like I was like finding it hard to run 345. So, I don't know what's really happened in the last few weeks. And maybe I think having someone there to do the pace work for you and run in a group and not have to consider how fast you're running or what your splits are, that is just an enormous advantage. And having paced so many people in the past, not having had the opportunity to really be paced by someone since like we first broke 90 minutes a couple of years ago. It was awesome, and just having that level of camaraderie that you have with the people that you're running with for a given amount of time, that kind of just makes you forget that you're kind of putting in a hard effort. So that was good. I think I probably I thought in my head, because my watch ran 21.5, and so there was a fair bit of mustard there through the tunnel probably, naturally, and I think our first K registered at like a 320 something, and I know that we were off because we were about 100 meters short of the K marker, and the K markers were bang on. Like I lapped my watch at that point, and then for every K thereafter, it was more or less exactly where the K marker was. So we probably added a few hundred or a couple of hundred meters in that first kind of K, really. I thought I was actually going to run like a 79-minute half without trying. Like I was like, Macca was behind me. He's like, Chris is going to run 79 minutes. And I was like, oh shit, that's cool. I'm just going to jog in a 79-minute half. And then when I got to the stadium, or got to Gloucester Park, I realised that I was still a few hundred meters away, and I wasn't going to make it. But I wasn't like totally upset with that, because the goal was to run kind of an hour 21. And having run 1 hour 20 and 10, I was pretty happy with that. I probably could have, if I'd known exactly how far that turn was, and if I had the dog in me, maybe I could have got there. But I'm wary that Bibra Lake has been the half marathon goal for, I guess, since giving up. This is the half marathon goal months ago. So I hope that I can. Hope we get a good day at Bibra in a couple of months' time, and or in 6 weeks' time, and can do that, replicate that same feeling, but hopefully a minute or so quicker. This would be great.
So are you a man of science? You're trusting the science of 3:45s as your, what's that, LT? Is that LT2?
Yeah. So like technically from that test, the LT2 would be somewhere between 3:48 and 3:45.
Okay.
So running 3:52s technically is like quite even though it's only 4 seconds or 4 to 8 seconds, it's only it's considerably below in terms of a heart rate level, like below it's about 10 beats lower than my second lactate threshold. So it felt like that. That's why it felt so sustainable, I suppose, because I wasn't hitting that marker until we then kind of got to the middle Ks, and maybe I was hovering just around it, and then went above it considerably. I think we were both talking about our splits, right, today, and you were very consistent, kind of 3:40 pace for more or less the whole thing. But I think mine went from 3:52 to 3:49 to 3:46 to, I think, 3:38 or something. So it was stupid, but I definitely felt it in the last kind of K. I think, if you're running more or less at 10K pace for the last kind of 10K of a half marathon, you're gonna feel pretty torched by the end. So but I probably didn't have the mustard to get that 79-minute half, unfortunately. But I wasn't expecting that. As I said, it would have been good to aim for that in the start and actually try and do it. But you just never know. I wasn't super confident in my fitness, I'll put it that way. But this has now given me the confidence to then kind of launch a platform to something else. And I was joking to you about doing Perth Running Festival Marathon while we got to the finish line. And I don't know. We'll see.
After dogging PRF for the last 6 months, here is us, tails between our legs, perhaps begging for a marathon ticket.
Might have to be on the wait list. We'll see.
All right. So obviously, an amazing result. Didn't really taper for it, 100K week. So so that gives you a lot of confidence heading into Bibra. Obviously, still plenty of time. What's it, 6 weeks, 7 weeks?
6 weeks or something, yeah.
What's the brain thinking as, what is the potential at Bibra? With all things considered, Bibra can sometimes be a shit show in terms of like weather, right? It's usually pissing down. But you've got a new tarmac around Bibra Lake now. What are you thinking in terms of what's possible?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll probably use a similar game plan. I mean, looking at the past results from the last few years, like the depth is definitely not there. So it's very likely that I'll be running solo from K1. I think it won't feel as easy, I think, because I won't have someone to run with, and you don't have the kind of atmosphere that you might have at HBF where you're constantly running past other people or people cheering you or whatever. So, and just the spectacle of running on the freeway and through the city, that kind of adds a lot of distraction. Whereas running 3 laps of Bibra Lake is probably not the same. But given it is, it will be fast. It's flat, and that tarmac is beautiful to run on, as I experienced last week. So I think if I can run under, 119. If I can run 110, run 19 low, I'll be happy. So take a minute off where I am now. That'd be wicked. But again, what I'll do is I'll start conservatively. I think I won't start at 352s, but I'll start at maybe closer to 348s, which is roughly 80-minute pace, and then try and chip away at it.
Okay.
But I'm always wary because I feel like you can teeter on the edge, or you can sit just below that threshold, and you feel really, really good. But if you just teeter above it ever so slightly too early, then it can kind of throw everything to pieces at the end. So I like to run halves as a negative split, and my experience at Bunbury last year was the complete opposite of that, and that's very contrary how I usually run a half marathon. So I like to run a very quick second half. So but the risk of doing that is that you leave time on the table, because you don't go full gas at the start. So I think that's going to come down to confidence, how confident I feel over the next couple of months. But I don't know. I feel like 119 is pretty achievable. Like had I tapered for this and had I had more confidence, maybe I could have done it yesterday. But I just don't know. And a few more weeks training, a few more thresholds, a few more hilly tempos, or whatever we're doing. Anything can happen.
Yeah, beautiful. Sounds good. Looking forward to it,
mate. Back-to-back weeks. Late call up for you. What was your mindset, knowing that maybe last week you had Max obviously to run with, and you had kind of organised that a long time in advance?
Yeah.
What was the plan, having not really any knowledge that you might be going back to back?
Yeah. I did message Tina on Tuesday saying, look, in the off chance that Ella doesn't make it, how fucking silly would it be for me to race it? And Tina's like, oh, well, you could do it, but your legs will remind you very quickly that you've raced a half marathon.
Yeah.
So I think throughout the week that was perhaps on my mind around, okay, look, if I race it, it'd be silly, and I'll pay the price in one way or another. And then when Saturday came around and Ella pulled the pin on racing, I think there was a bit of fear heading into it around, do I do the same game plan of 3:45s and then reassess at the halfway mark? Just aim for 80 minutes, or I don't know. Like it was perhaps a bit unclear for me throughout the whole day. And then perhaps essentially at 9 p.m, I just went, you know what? Fuck it. I'll race it. And I'll do the same game plan as Student Up. And look, I kind of knew where the key landmarks were in terms of key spots. Like I knew the convention centre ramp onto the freeway was about 8-9 Ks. Heading out of the tunnel, getting off the Grand Farmer Freeway, perhaps is about 15-16 Ks. So if I can survive 15-16 Ks, I can suffer for the last 5. But those were perhaps the 2 key landmarks for me in terms of reassessing of how I was feeling. Anyway, so 9 p.m. was when I decided what the game plan was. And then waking up, met some of the Team Tina guys at East Perth. So we parked at kind of near the cemetery, so pretty close to Gloucester Park. It was Dan, Renee, Hannah and I. We parked there and we jogged to the start line. So that ended up being about 2 Ks or so. Warmed up, did a couple of strides, and met with the rest of the Team Tina guys for a photo, and then straight into the pen. They didn't really... I know Vici said it in the last episode that the seeded areas were going to be policed, or the waves were getting policed, but that didn't end up happening at all. And, found myself trying to squeeze in, and then seeing you, knowing that you weren't seeded out front, along with a couple other guys and a couple of guys
Burrows.
with C-bibs and seeing Burrows there. And that was maybe 5 minutes before the start, and to be honest, I was quite relaxed. I was quite nervous before Joondalup, and perhaps it was just this thing in my head where this was going to be the A goal for quite so long, and I was actually quite relaxed heading to HBF, and wasn't nervous at all, wasn't caught up with the fanfare and stuff, and obviously it was really cold and cool. It was great for me. And then when the gun went off, so the plan was 345s, first K 332s, and my GPS was bang on. So when I saw the K marker, saw my watch go off, 332s, I went, okay, that was fast. Obviously, that's the downhill, and everyone's excited. Everyone was out really fast. And then very quickly saw Colin Desmuke, saw Chart, saw Nira, and a couple of others, and very quickly we were kind of running roughly the same pace. So anywhere between sort of 341s to 345s, we were kind of in that vicinity. So very quickly I thought, okay, this is kind of the group. We didn't agree to run together or anything. I think it kind of just landed that way. And then it was perhaps Chart and I for the most part of the first sort of 4 to 6 Ks. And then, so that was easy. That felt so easy. I think 345s went out the window in terms of like staying on that pace. I just, assessed based on effort, and heading to the UWA turn, heading back, I think I was just hovering. I think each K felt like I was yo-yoing quite a bit, but looking at the 5K splits, they were somewhat pretty consistent. So first 5K, 18:29. So as we were heading back into the city and perhaps onto the freeway, probably slowed down a little bit heading onto the ramp once you went past the convention center. But yeah, even in terms of perceived effort, that just felt easy. So I think I was sort of yo-yoing between sort of 343s, 344s, so maybe a 339K or something. And I kind of just based it on effort more or less. And just running with Chart. I think Colin was a little bit ahead. We had Riley, Hubert from Double. So we were kind of within a couple of seconds from each other. So I think once we got onto the ramp, and as we were heading to Grand Farmer Freeway, I think that's where we kind of grouped together a little bit and ran together for perhaps a big chunk of Grand Farmer Freeway. And then heading out of the tunnel, obviously in the tunnel, GPS is all out of whack. So I think I had like a 4-minute K on my watch there. And then as I was coming out of the tunnel, it was like 3:15s or something. So kind of tried to keep the efforts in check more than just freaking out, looking at the pace go haywire. And then Chart kind of pushed a little bit more once we got out of the tunnel. So I did lose Chart after the tunnel. And then perhaps in the tunnel, I felt my legs say hello in terms of feeling a bit of fatigue in the legs. So I think that at that point I did feel a bit nervous about, it's earlier than I thought in terms of being reminded of my race last week. But then I kind of, mentally just went, look, I just need to make it to the off-ramp. And once I make it to the off-ramp, I can suffer and push and do whatever it takes to get to the finish line. And then once I got off the off-ramp, it was fine. Like, because I think once you get on the off-ramp, it's a bit of a downhill as you sort of head down, and then you make that right turn into Optus Stadium. And that felt like a second wind for me. So I kind of pushed the pace slightly. I think my K still yo-yoed quite a bit, but it just felt easy. Like you said, like the perceived effort of those paces, even when I had some faster Ks in there, just felt like a tempo. Which was amazing. And anyway, as I was heading sort of around that turn, and you kind of make that you head towards Optus Stadium before you do that turn, head back in the opposite direction, I saw Liam Sherwin So we've been training together at Team Tina. He was going to do Joondalup with us last week, but he had a sore back heading into Joondalup, pulled out of Joondalup and made HBF his A race. So he went out at 3:41s, like that was his game plan at HBF. So I hadn't really seen him until that moment. And once I saw him, I went, okay, I'm going to chase him down. That gave me the motivation. And then when I made the turn myself, then I saw you guys entering and I went, fuck, Chris is catching me again. And every single time we fucking race together. So I think that just gave me the push to the final like 4Ks that would have been at that point. So I feel like the only slow K I had in sort of that last little bit was when you pass the Channel 9 section where you kind of get onto that little grass area, and I was kind of feeling a bit, I don't want to like stack it in this bit, and then getting onto the causeway that was like that weird mat that looked like you had to veer left then go right. So that was my slow K, but that was 3:42s, and then kind of pushed to the finish line. I think when we make that turn going past the Wacker, Riley turned on the jets a little bit, and unfortunately I couldn't catch him. So there is footage of him, what looks to be jogging through Gloucester Park into the finish line, and me just swinging my arms and moving
Steph O'Donnell style,
short stumpy legs, but unfortunately didn't catch him quite in time. And Liam was only 2 seconds ahead or 3 seconds ahead in the end, so I couldn't catch him. It was a bit too late, but looking at my splits, they were like 8:29, 8:27, 18:32, 18:18, and then the last K was 3:39. Last 60 seconds was 3:36. So more or less even splits with a bit of a negative split towards the end. So
beauty.
Never really felt the bonk. Like obviously felt an awareness at 12K, and it kind of subsided after I got off the ramp. So kind of felt like the perfect day. And I don't know how I did that after racing during last week, but I'll take it. Obviously running with a bunch of guys, like he said, it kind of distracts you, and obviously the spectacle of HBF, the crowds, obviously what you do, there's not that many turns in the grand scheme of things, but you do make a turn and you head back in the opposite direction. So you obviously have the crowd on the other side, which I feel like makes a huge difference, where a lot of other courses where you kind of don't really get that opportunity. Like I can't think of any races where that kind of happens. Maybe PRF is the only time you experience that, but then you're on Kwinana Freeway and it's so barren, like you don't experience the closeness of like other participants cheering you on. So I think just to experience that is pretty awesome. And obviously the weather, like we thought Joondalup was a perfect day, and somehow HBF bettered it somehow.
It doesn't happen very often where you get 2 weekends in a row like that. Even if it is May, it's the best month of the year. Like to go from a 6 or 7 degrees start last week to 3 degrees this week, and more or less no wind. Pretty lucky in that regard.
So I finished, all the stars aligned, obviously the body held up.
It wasn't the fairy dust on the cheeks, do you think?
No, maybe it was the sparkles on the cheeks. I don't know, performance enhancing sparkles. Like I obviously heading into it, I was bracing myself for a bonk at some point and paying the price of racing 2 weeks in a row, because obviously that's really silly, but it never happened. And obviously I pulled up A-OK this morning. I think, when you have perfect executed races like this, you wonder whether or not did I work hard enough? Is there seconds there? But like you said, you're kind of on the edge, right? So if I had gone out like with the plan of 3:41s or like running with Liam, for example, I don't know if I would have had the experience that I had yesterday. So I'm pretty happy with how panned out. Obviously, it's a good feeling knowing that there perhaps is seconds in there, and whether or not sub 78 is a possibility later this year. But yeah, like I'll take it. You know,
For sure.
after last week's debacle, I'll take it. So yeah, 1:18:24 I think was the final time, and
nice.
now I'm trying to decide what to do for the rest of the year. But it's definitely perked my marathon interest back up again. I think PRF is a definite no. I'm not going to be begging for a marathon ticket at PRF, but I think Bunbury's on next year, I think, as the marathon in 2027.
Yeah, sick. I think the first thing I said to you after the race was like, slapped you on the back and said, "So when's the marathon?" You know, because
yeah,
it was perfect.
And I think, you know, in my head, maybe 6-7 months ago, I would have said, "Oh, look, I would have had to go under 78 to entertain the possibility of doing a marathon again." But I think I'm interested now, and obviously it's marathon season. Everyone's starting to train for marathons. Like Sydney's coming up. I was talking to Dan because Dan's going to do Sydney, and some of the group will be training for Sydney as well. Or if it's not Sydney, it would be Melbourne later this year. So I think that will really get the motivation going. I think. I don't think I can afford to Melbourne again. Not that I can get a ticket or anything like that, but I think Bunbury's on. That's awesome. For sure. Yeah.
Oh, Ian and Megan will be very happy to hear that. So I guess one of the questions I was going to ask you, and someone brought it up in our group chat today, was like, they said, you know, ever since you ran sub 3, you seem like a different runner. Like you've improved and just become more confident. I guess, what do you think has changed psychologically for you in the past, 6 months since you ran Melbourne? Say from when you ran Gold Coast last year in July to now, what has changed, do you think? And what has made you more confident? And what are you telling yourself different things in the race, or are you just maybe you're judging your effort better than you might have done in the past? Like what is it that's changed, do you think?
To be honest, I think, and I hate to say it because I'm allergic to hills, I think hills do pay the bills. I did do a good chunk, over January, a whole bunch of Bold Park kind of sessions or Green Mile. They were fucking ugly sessions, and you know, for someone that is obsessed with running a pace during his sessions, like they were disgusting workouts. You know, they were either like Green Mile repeats or Tina was getting me doing like Rocky Fartlek, which was like 6Ks in Bold Park, where you're going up hills at an effort and trying to float the downhills, and like they're tough workouts. And even after Gold Coast, heading to, you know, Melbourne and training for Melbourne, there were a lot of tough workouts that included, you know, floating instead of recovery jogs during efforts. So I think a lot of the tough stuff worked on my strength. And, you know, for a guy that doesn't do S&C, I guess that kind of made up for a lot of that. And what that meant was, you know, the hard moments don't feel hard. And I think that's probably the honest answer. I think I haven't, in all the races, I haven't really felt, it hasn't really felt hard enough compared to the perceived efforts that perhaps I was feeling, you know, pre-Gold Coast or during Gold Coast. I think there's probably still mindset issues there. I think, you know, it does make you think, would I have raced June a lot better with those, you know, knowing that we had gone off course?
Sure.
Because I think there were a couple of Ks there where I was just distracted and not focused. And so, you know, I think there's still an element of that still. But I think overall, I think, you know, we always think about a perfect training plan converts to a perfect race. But it feels like since Gold Coast, every time I've gone through a bad patch, or what I think is a bad patch of training, ends up being a really, really good race, because I just view training as a indicator of, if I can nail the training, or I feel like I'm nailing the training, that surely will convert to a perfectly executed race. But I'm finding that it's far from it. It's when I'm suffering in the training, or it feels ugly and abrasive, that it does, not only strengthen my legs, but it sort of strengthens the mind a little bit. And I'm heading into the race not as stressed and fixated about it going to plan. So I think that's probably the difference for me. So I'm a little bit more chill. And I feel like, a couple of the team members have commented on that as well, where like it doesn't phase me how the training goes, like the sessions on Saturday, like whether it goes well or not. Like I take it for what it is and kind of keep moving with it and sort of trust the process. That will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, like if you're running 2x5K on a Saturday, and whether you run 18:30 for that 5K or you run 18:45 or 19 for that 5K, the percentage difference in your actual outcome of your training is probably less than 1%. Like it actually doesn't matter. So it's as long as you're turning up and doing the sessions consistently and putting in the work, and not giving up when the session gets hard, but just continuing and pushing through the session. Well, that is what is going to give you the strength to push through, and when it gets hard in a race. And if it's not getting hard in a race, well then, that means that you're tougher than you used to be. So whether it be physically or mentally,
and I think that was like the purpose of a lot of the sessions that we did. Like, so we would meet at Scarbs, and we're either going south, which is predominantly flat, or we head north, and the undulation of heading north as you head through Trig, and depending on how long your sessions are, you're kind of almost heading to Hillary's. There's a lot of up and downs there, and if you're doing your tempos or your half marathon threshold efforts up and down that coast, like that's definitely going to build a lot of strength in your legs. And it's quite easier for us to, go to Munga or go down the South Perth foreshore, because it's easy, it's flat. And you'll probably nail your pace by doing that. But it's, doing the ugly stuff, I think, that really builds a lot of strength. And that's what I'm experiencing. So cool. When Tina gives me spicy stuff, which doesn't involve, the classic K reps or 5-minute reps or whatever, I actually get pretty excited by it now, because I know that it's going to be fucking hard. I'm going to suffer. I'm probably going to yak at some point during those sessions, but I think it does definitely pay off. So I'm definitely finding that.
Yeah, sick. Oh, very good, mate. No, congratulations. Big PB, 3-minute PB. And obviously big things to come. I think you said there's a 10K on the cards. Probably Shelley, I take it.
Probably at this stage. I'm going to sleep on it for the next couple of days. I think Front Runner do their club 10K thing at Shelley. So I think there'll be a decent group of people doing that. So that might be motivating for me. And it's Shelley foreshore. So it's simple-ish course to run. So that might be the go. I know Shelley and Perth Half are 2 weeks from each other, so it feels like I'll have to make a decision on which one I'll take priority over. I'll do Rotto, because Rotto's mid-June. As part of the Team Tina crew, I'll do the half marathon. Dan's planning to do Sydney, and he's planning to do Rotto as a marathon sesh, so I might join him on that.
Cool. Is he doing the half? Yeah, he must be. The half.
Yeah, so he's looking to do sort of like 4-minute Ks or just under. So I think that's good enough for me to put a bit of a session in there. So cool. Yeah, that's kind of the plan for me.
Yeah, magic. All righty. Well, let's. I mean, unfortunately, Vicky's not here, and she's been working very hard over the last 24 hours, as you said. So we would love to have her perspective on the event, but given we were the ones out on the road running it, it might be a good opportunity for us to kind of talk through some of the goods, the positives and the negatives. There weren't too many negatives, I'll be honest with you. I mean, it was pretty good.
It was pretty good. And I don't know if we're just biased after Joondalup, but or, it's the conditions kind of made the difference, right? Because last year, obviously, it was pissing down for the half marathon. It probably got better over the course of the day, but there were, puddles and it was wet and moist and humid. But yesterday was perfect. But obviously, 40,000 people in the city at some point in the morning, like that's always going to be a logistical nightmare. But it didn't feel busy.
No, I think the way they staggered the start times for the waves probably has something to do with that, because the waves are kind of starting at slightly different or at least penned at slightly different locations before they approach the start line. So they've obviously absolutely nailed that, and they've been doing that for years. So they know what they're doing. And it feels extremely professional. Like everyone's kind of held back, and then they say with 3 minutes to go, okay, you can approach the start line. And that's when we all walked up. I did think that, it was strange that I was able to stand next to you or more or less just behind you, and you were in a seated bib. And then you had someone like Luke Burrows, who absolutely should have had a seated bib, but he was wearing a Sea Wave bib and won the race. That would probably be my criticism, is that maybe you could set the seated guys off a minute before the Wave A. Just so that it felt like more of a seated or a sub-elite race. And so, there's that. And maybe opening up more seated bibs, because the fact that Luke had to run in a yellow bib was pretty laughable. And the number of people I got sent pictures of, why is this guy in a Sea Wave bib winning the race? Well, because he just walked up to the start and stood with everyone else. I'd find it hard to believe that they could control the funneling of people based on the bib that they're wearing. So, I don't know. It relies a bit on self-seating, doesn't it?
It felt like it was quite stringent in terms of the seeded application process, and it seemed like it sold out very quickly. So, Smithy did message us around whether or not he could get a seated bib, and that was very early on in the piece. And he eventually did get a seated bib, but a lot of people who deserved a seated spot didn't get one because apparently they sold out. So I don't know. Maybe there should have been more spots, and clearly, with so many people running under 78 minutes, there are a lot of people who have the ability to run under 80 minutes.
Yeah, maybe they don't narrow down that. Maybe narrow down the gap. Maybe it has to be under 75 or something. Because it's
and people who may have begged shouldn't be allowed a seated spot. And they didn't really police it on the day as well, right? It seemed like everyone was able to just rock up. So I think perhaps was a criticism, but it is huge numbers, a lot of people walking around, so definitely hard to police, even if you did have people they're trying to man sections. Obviously the arch is a winner, right? Like that tells you it's a professional event. Maybe Sydreh Surf has it. I think Sydreh Surf do have it, but
I haven't run it in 10 years, so I can't remember. But
I don't think any other event has a professional looking start like that, to be honest. It looks pretty phenomenal. Yeah,
because the one at Perth Running Festival is more just another inflatable one with some people on the side from memory. So it's still big, but it's not as spectacular as say HBF is.
And then with the 6:30 start, it's just illuminating as well, which is amazing.
Yeah, perfect time. I think they've been bringing that forward over the years, right? Maybe it started at 7 once upon a time, and they might have brought that forward down towards 6:35. I think it started this year. So I'm as a person who runs exclusively before sunrise, absolutely no complaints from me on the start time.
Perfect for uncles and aunties. That's for sure.
100%. The finish changed obviously this year. We weren't running on the big blue carpet, so we finished on the track, which was a good thing. Way better situation. I wish I could have seen where it was from when I entered Gloucester Park. I wish I could have seen the finish line, because it was at that point in time I needed to see the finish line. Because I was obscured by all the other stuff that was going on in the middle of the
of the section. Yeah. It does make you wonder, because obviously the WAC has been refurbed and you're walking past the WACA as you're exiting, whether or not, I don't know, it must be a cost issue or something, but finishing in the WACA would be bloody amazing.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the WACA board probably spends enough money on that grass that the last thing they want is like people
40,000
trudging.
people.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I felt like that even maybe I don't know why it felt so different to years past, but it was so easy to get out of Gloucester Park this year too. Like when I decided to leave after having spent 45 minutes at the finish line, like to actually get out of there. Usually I felt really kind of funneled and tight, but maybe it's just I just avoided maybe I'd left before the 12Ks had arrived basically. So
true.
But it felt good.
I felt the same. It felt like when we wanted to leave, we got out pretty quickly. I remember years gone by, like there used to be more fanfare at Gloucester Park. We had more marquees and food trucks and all that. And maybe I didn't pay attention. I didn't really see it there. I didn't go searching for it, so maybe I didn't notice. But yeah, you're right. Got out pretty quickly. It was kind of pretty smooth sailing for the most part, so that was really good. We bitch and moan about the lack of K markers at other events, but they were pretty spot on.
Yeah.
And I think it probably wasn't until I think the only blip for me personally was the 8K marker when you get onto the ramp. I felt that was either too early or too late. I'm not too sure. But other than that, I think they were more or less bang on and gave me the confidence that we were on track. So that was good to see. Were they every single K? I can't remember.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I think I saw one every K. So that was awesome. One thing, like a small criticism, and this, I don't know, like the signage. I couldn't. Every time I wanted a drink of water, I got a cup of electrolytes. So I wasn't sure if they were color coded or something. So that was just my ignorance. I think I'm sure that people were definitely yelling stuff, but I was so kind of enthralled in what I was doing. I was just wasn't paying that much. And it was cold enough that I didn't need all that much water, to be honest with you. It was just to have a little sip to wash the spit down, basically. But when I saw the race photos come out, and unfortunately I couldn't access my race photos because I ran under a different person's entry, and I would not support that at all, of course. I'm sure Vici has a few things to say about that from a risk management perspective. But seeing a $60 price tag on the photos, I thought, shit, I paid $60 for my 12K entry and I've got to pay $60 for the photos? Like, that's mental. But yeah, there was a discount on that, a small discount on as if you bought them the same day. And fortunately, I've been sent through the photos from a lovely individual. So I haven't needed to pay for them, which is great. That is not an inside job at all. That's just someone else who was running next to me that had the photos and was willing to share them with me, which is lovely. And yeah, I mean, I'm when we talk about Perth Running Festival, I'm very critical of the freeway. But I think the more I think about it over the last 24 hours, I think it's because it's in October. And freeway is the worst place to be in October.
But you know what? Like, I feel like, and it's because it's a half marathon, right? You are on the freeway for a long period of time, but because it's a half marathon, you're not on it for very long. Like, you're just convention center, Grain Farmer Freeway, and then exit. So it's really 8Ks. 8Ks of freeway out of the half marathon. But at PRF, the marathon, you're spending 3/4 of your time on a freeway. So it's a huge difference. And the HBF part is perhaps the nicer part of the freeway.
True. Yeah, it may be. Yeah, we were running on a different side. you're not on it for as long. You're in the opposite side of the tunnel, right? So, you're going the opposite direction rather. So, I don't know. It is it's maybe the time of year, maybe it's the length of time you spend on it. But yeah, it was actually enjoyable to run on. I'll be honest. And yeah, I think being 5 degrees or 7 degrees or what it was would have helped.
I think so.
I think there could be more entertainment still. I feel like that is still a thing, that, like it's not a huge deal, but I feel like you see videos of like events in other countries and other places in the eastern states, and there's like these massive kind of cheer squads or whatever, and there were a few of those dotted around. I saw the roller derby girls were out there on the freeway, which was cool. There was a bunch of other groups. There was like an LSKD group, and but yeah, I don't know. I think there are more community groups out there doing community group stuff on the side of the race would be cool. But yeah, I mean, that's just a really like a if anything, I'm clutching at straws. Like I'm just trying to find things.
We're nitpicking more than anything. Yeah. I'd say going back to the photos, I mean, the discount would have taken you down to $47, but I mean, the quality of the photos were pretty good. I think it's perhaps the best race photos you would get, and you and I froth over Rourke and phase photography, but I think North-South are on a different level.
Yeah, they're just, I mean, it's a different style of photography, right? Like they're capturing a mood. They're not just capturing the runners, like they're capturing like a vibe, and like having these kind of semi out of focus shots with the horizon, like sitting in, and the sun rising in the background and all this, it was pretty spectacular stuff, and having been a fan of their coverage on events in the eastern states for the last couple of years, like they do a phenomenal job over there, and I was really surprised to see their name on the photos, and that I instantly knew, okay, these are actually going to be pretty fucking sick photos. And then I started seeing everybody post them, and I was like, holy shit, these are like legitimately the best race photos I've ever seen.
And they sent a text at 7:30. So they were uploading photos, within an hour of the event starting. And throughout the day, it was just, refreshing with additional photos that came through. So obviously, look, pricey photos, but I had to cop.
Oh, for sure. And in an age where like social media is kind of so prevalent, having very high quality, like, race photos, it's just, kudos to the guys at HBF for organizing it, because, I mean, phenomenal job to lock them in, let alone have them actually produce a product that they could be proud of. So, yeah, I don't know. Anything else to add, mate? I think
that's it. I mean, overall, it can come across as if we're biased, but, obviously with Vici on the team, but definitely the biggest event of the year.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. And it will be hard to compete with it unless City to Surf decides to pick up additional distances again, like it used to do. I think most listeners will know, unfortunately, someone did pass away during the race, which is obviously no one wants that to happen. And obviously our kind of thoughts are with not only their family, but like the people at HBF who've been dealing with the kind of roll on from that too over the last kind of 24 hours. So that must be like an event organizer's nightmare for something like that to happen. Sincerest condolences to their family. And it's just really hard to comprehend, going out for a run at an event like this and then just not going home. Like it's not something that you would ever expect to happen, especially with someone who's so young and terribly sad.
It kind of does, puts things into perspective in terms of life is short, and obviously health comes first as well. So if it's a reminder to look after your loved ones and make the most of what you have, because you never know what life throws at you.
Exactly. And like another reminder to have regular health checks. Like if you're feeling any particular way, and I don't know the circumstances of this, so I'm really not talking to this specific event, but like just if you are feeling a slightly different for a given period of time, maybe you should go to the GP and get yourself looked at, because you just never know what is around the corner. So mate, let's wrap up HBF there. We'll get into some upcoming events now. We've got Elica Running Festival this weekend. Coming up, we've got a half marathon, 10K, 5K there. We've got the Cape to Cape Ultra on the 6th and 7th of June. We've got Kununurra Half on the 14th of June, as well as the Rottnest Running Festival. We've got Ultra Perth on the 20th of June. And then PTS Snakes and Ladders on the 21st of June. So some busy running coming up over the next month or so. I think the WAMC King of the Mountain is also on the 28th. So that's probably my next effort. Have a go there on the trails. Hopefully not break a leg. Touch wood. And that's kind of running for the next month or so. In terms of Simon Says, there's not much on the list here, mate. I'm saying one thing and one thing only.
Yep, that's community run on the 3rd of June on World Running Day.
Global Running Day, yeah.
Global Running Day. The guys of ASICS are coming down. I was having a look at what shoes will be brought to the wear test. So we've got the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo, Metaspeed Sky Tokyo, Super Blast 3 and Mega Blast. So decent suite of shoes there to try on. Get in early to secure your pair, and we haven't heard back from RAF about shoes being given away, so we will wait and see. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But it'll be good to see Sam Hopper coming down.
Oh, for sure. And like all of those shoes are kind of going to be highly sought after in terms of those who haven't tried them. I've never worn a Mega Blast. I've never worn a Super Blast. So I'll be there early to make sure I get a pair of size 12s.
Very good, mate. All right, let's wrap the episode up with Weapons of War.
Yeah. So in addition to HBF and Sydreh this weekend, we had Cape Town Marathon, which I watched a bit of coverage of after it was kind of popping off in the group chat. We had a few people from Perth over there. I think we had Matt Damasi running over there and a bunch of crew. But Astrid Roberts won her World Masters age group champs. And she was 19th overall in a time of 2:51.58. She was about 6 minutes behind at halfway point, third place at 40K, but then absolutely stormed home to take the win. So massive for Astrid. She just seems to be stringing together this series of performances that, is just going to show how like hard work pays off in the long run. And I was talking to Raf actually on Wednesday last week about Astrid and the way she trains and how methodical she is. And so, it's cool to see all that hard work come to fruition. We had Maha Damouni with hammy and ab cramps at 32K and had to be carried to a medical tent. Once the cramps eased off, she got back on the course and finished the race. That's pretty phenomenal stuff and definitely worthy of a weapon nomination. Now, when we announced our ticket winners for HBF, I think we had Matt Neves, we had Brodie Clark, and who was our third winner?
Name escapes me, actually.
Oh, we had the gentleman with his son pushing the son in the stroller. So we had Brodie Clark promise us that he would. Well, we kind of joked around the idea of getting a tattoo, and Brodie turned up to the start line, tapped me on the shoulder, and put his guns up, and he had WA and RP on his biceps, which was awesome to see. He ended up running a 1:22.23 and absolutely smashed it. So I think he might be going to Gold Coast or Sydney. I can't remember which one it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's definitely looking in that kind of sub-3 marathon territory.
It is, maybe he needs to, Sharpie or warp on his face at Goldie or Sydney or whatever he's doing. Yeah, sub-3's on the cards, I think. Definitely,
and I don't think he can consider himself a casual runner anymore, so that's unfortunate. We had Jamie Reeves, avid listener of the pod from down in Bunbury. One of the paces went down, and apparently she's okay. But Jamie stepped up with the flag on his back and took the bus home. So that's awesome stuff from you, Jamie. Brian Burke completed the inaugural HBF marathon. The historic
official,
unofficial. But I mean, as far as I'm aware, I don't think anybody else has ever done this, and it is a testament to the way Brian thinks. He is a left of centre thinker, and he completed the treble. So he ran the half marathon, presumably in wave A, then ran back to the start line, ran the 12K, finished that, ran back to the start line and ran the 3K. And I think he totaled 43Ks for the day. So, yeah, really exceptional stuff from Brian. That was very entertaining to see. And having been like a friend of the podcast for such a long time now, it's awesome to see that his weapon behavior ever since we took over this podcast has just continued to escalate over time. So, in more creative ways,
very creative. I am very intrigued at how much that would have costed him. Like, that would have been a very expensive long run yesterday. So very intrigued at how much the regos would have cost, what sort of fueling situation we had, and more importantly, how many Jaegers were consumed after. And if we could get like an Excel spreadsheet of costs, I'd be very interested in cost per minute.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what have we got here? We've also got someone in our upcoming training series. Now, we won't announce it just yet, but we've established a group chat for this training series. So we've locked in 4 athletes, which is very exciting. It took us a little while to get there, but we've had the help of another weapon of warp to do that. So we'll keep their identity secret too. But one of these gentlemen shared a picture of him and 4 other random guys holding a trophy on Saturday night at 10 p.m. And I think everyone in the chat was not everyone knows each other very well. So it was like
I think it was like a photo posted with no
context,
whatsoever.
And just bewilderment, I think, on everyone else's behalf. It wasn't until Monday morning, like this morning, that it was actually addressed, and Michael realised that he'd sent that photo to us instead of a different group chat that he was talking to. I think it was his wife, actually. So,
and I was glad that it was cleared up, because I did receive that message at the time. I didn't sleep very well Saturday night. And I was just waiting for a follow-up text to explain what that was, but it never came Saturday or Sunday.
I've just given their identity away. I just realised I said Michael. So, that'll give a clue at least to who this person might be. But that's kind of us for this week, I think. That's all of our weapons. Awesome to see everyone at HBF. Obviously, I'd love to just say thank you to everybody who was out there and cheering for me and supporting, and the support that you've probably seen on Strava as well, and you saw on course has been phenomenal. So always appreciative of people kind of reaching out and sending us photos, sending us videos, and just generally really appreciate the positivity that everybody else is putting out into the world, and hopefully that we can do as part of running this podcast. So good to be here.
Yeah, and echo the same. Like, perhaps 80% of the cheering was for Nira, but there were a couple of Simons there, here and there, so I really appreciate it. And obviously, an event like HBF sort of brings the running community and, the casual runners and the broader WA community together as well. So, overall it was a massive day in the Perth calendar at large, not just the running calendar. So, glad to be a part of it. But that's it for this week. You can reach out to us at WA Running Pod on Instagram. Our email address is warunningpodcast@gmail.com, and our Strava group is Warp. Thank you for joining us, and we will catch you next week. Sort of had a blank on how I was going to finish this episode.
I don't know, but I saw someone wearing an Order of Murray outfit on the race course on the weekend, which was awesome to see.
Apparently DNS'd. All right, that's it. Catch up. Bye.
See you guys.
We've been quiet about ice cream.
Yeah, I was thinking about that tonight, and we were talking about organising this AGM. And I was like, well, why don't we just go to McDonald's?
Yeah, true. So this Friday,
I will go to McDonald's and sink 16 ice creams.
done. All right, we'll live stream that.